sit down. You
As
enjoy
many as you
that.
remember, school always started with the bell ring. So that's our effect today. It's many years in coming. Okay, at this time, as we've done in the past, and as they did many years ago, and they always started, Leighton Jones will come up and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Anybody pledge to rise? We started this just 5 years ago. He was the first to do it. The ceremony was actually 4 years ago. I told him he was this tall. But no, thank you. This is just a great day for us. We'll talk a little bit about where we are with the building, where we were, what we've done over the last 2 years since our last event, and kind of give it some of the dedications that people have made, commitments to the schoolhouse, and then we'll talk a little bit about what we're going to do in the future. So at this time, I'd like to call up Bill Haberthur, the Secretary of the Bethel Park Historical Society, to do the 2 years in review.
Well, it's so nice to be back. We missed everybody last year, but we didn't let a little pandemic stop our progress. It's been a roller coaster these past 5 years, but I just want to highlight some of the changes that we have made since you last were here 2 years ago. When we actually rang the bell, it was downstairs, so now that's back up in the cupola. It just gave me chills to hear that ringing again. So, interestingly enough, we had fuses in this building. Up until the pandemic, our electrician said, hey, is there anything I can do? I want to keep my guys working. We said, why don't you come in and upgrade? So we now have circuit breakers, which is a big thing. So the building has been completely rewired, so it's safe, so it'll stand another 100 years. John Oakes from All Pro Plumbing, he very graciously said the same thing. I want to keep my guys employed during the pandemic. I think it's time, since no one's in the building, how about if I tear apart the bathroom on the first floor, make it a little bigger, make it 100% ADA compliant. So John and his guys did that, so we're indebted for him. And he didn't get enough of a bathroom project, so now he's working on the boys and girls bathroom, and he's actually adding a family bathroom down in the basement. So when we have 1,000 people in the building again, which we did prior to the pandemic, you won't have to stand in line for one bathroom. We have, our plasterer did an incredible job in this room, in the front foyer, on the staircase, on the first floor, going down to what used to be the girls' bathroom. It was an eyesore. The first floor was almost completely finished except for that. That came in. Now we just have to do a little painting, but for the most part, the first floor is 98% completed. We focus our efforts on the second floor. We'll talk about this room in a few minutes. But we also did the auditorium across the way. Please, after the ceremony, stop in and see John O'Krasak, a local Pittsburgh artist who has a 32-foot painting of Carnegie Steel on display, and his wife Maria is also in the room with some of her artwork. So we're just about finished with this. After doing all these drywall ceilings, we got a grant for $170,000 to do HVAC in the building. That's in the throes of being completed. We came in one day and we noticed holes back in our ceiling again. We thought we were back 2 years ago when we started. But there will be grills very quickly. Within the next couple of weeks they'll finish up. We'll have heat and air conditioning on the second floor, which just makes this space usable for all of us. We've replaced all 11 exterior doors, so now the building is buttoned up. We're no longer losing heat or air through those gapping holes in the building, which is great. Front foyer staircase we talked about. Within the next couple of weeks, we're actually going to be getting new gutters and downspouts for outside of the building, which will help mitigate rain. We finished our new roof. The cupola has been restored. And not only did we do renovations, but we significantly added to our collections. When you go downstairs and you see our military museum, I mean, it's an incredible array, starting with the Civil War all the way up to Afghanistan. And Bob Stapley, I don't know if he's here, from the Heinz History Center, we work very closely with them. He is absolutely amazed at what we've been able to achieve, and he regards us as a small museum in the Pittsburgh area, which is a very nice compliment for us. We've also added to our school memorabilia, with yearbooks. When I tell you, when we're here on Tuesdays and Thursday nights, there's not a week that goes by somebody's dropping something off. A couple weeks ago, we got pictures from the 1930s of the classroom, school photos, and from the faculty. So and Harold Rosenberger was here. He looked at the photograph and immediately he spotted his uncle, which is a neat thing when something like that happens. We're also...
My mom is also in that picture.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
She
great,
was a
Noreen.
kid, this was
Okay.
great, yeah.
Noreen, can you just stand up for a second? I think this is so appropriate, her sweatshirt. Noreen went to grade school here. Anyone else? Okay. So we have a few, which is great. Historical documents, we're going to be working with the library. They're going to work on getting a grant to be able to digitize all their historical documents as well as ours, so that way they'll be accessible online, which is a wonderful thing. Our military museum, our classroom museum at the end of the hallway, and our coal miners museum, just harken back to the days when, the industry built Bethel Park.
In the military museum, there's also, you have a man in there from the revolution.
Yes, yes. So we really, we have quite an impressive collection. So I think the good news is we are now on the map as a repository for the history of the community, as a venue for corporate and private events, and just, really a cultural museum and space for the community. So we're really quite proud, and we really, as Tim said, we couldn't have done it without the support of local businesses and residents who made this all possible. So, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you, Bill. It truly has been really a great project for all of us. So we appreciate the Historical Society Board, as well as we now have over 100 members as part of the Bethel Park Historical Society. If you're interested, we meet on the last Sunday of the month at 1 o'clock. So, if you're interested, come get involved. It's just a great opportunity to really be part of the history of the community. We've become, as Bill mentioned, the repository of all the history of the community. People now have a place to take it. As you see the building as you walk through it today, a lot of things have been accomplished. A lot of work needs to be done. Somebody came here, we were working yesterday. Customer Reginald's, I took him on a quick tour, and he says, "When are you going to be finished?" And I said, "Never."
Well, never.
Yeah. But no, this room is a great example, and we'll be dedicating it at the end of the presentation today. But it really requires people to do it, and it also requires funding to get the work done. And it started out, like I said, 4 years ago. We had a very lofty goal to raise $1 million. And we started with our first grant, getting heating and air conditioning. We thought we were going to get heating and air conditioning and windows in the building until the bids came in, and we only had enough to cover the heating and air conditioning. But things always seem to work out for whatever reason. We always have somebody willing to step up and help us. Probably one of our early and ardent supporters is State Representative Natalie Mihalik is here today. She was very helpful in getting some of the grants. In particular, most recent one to do the roof and do the heating and the air conditioning on the second floor, which we were hoping to have it done today, but we're probably 2 weeks behind. So Natalie, if you'd like to say a few words. You always like to put her on the spot.
Thanks, Tim. Good morning, everyone. I love this building from the very moment I walked into it. I think that it embodies the heart and soul of Bethel Park. I have the privilege of representing 3 communities, and Bethel Park is pretty unique out of those 3. I think that the people that live in the community are very proud of it, and you would know that at any given, you say Tuesday or Thursday, but I feel like any given day of the week, you ride past this building, you can see Mallory or Bill or John Oates, somebody's always working on this building, volunteering their time to make special, it's restored, it's preserved for generations to come. The history of the military museum downstairs, I mean, you've just done a fabulous job with that. I think it's so incredible and such an asset to the community. Reginald's, it's a tremendous asset, not just to the building, but to the community. It's more than a coffee shop. I mean, they just put so much time and energy into making it something really, really special. Our office uses this facility all the time as well for office hours or events. Having a board tournament here. It's such an asset to the community. I can't communicate that enough. And what small role that I can play in helping divert some of the state funds that are available out there, and the Historical Society is certainly not shy in asking for them. So I'm happy to do it. I think this is just a treasure for Bethel Park. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. I would just like to read off when we embarked on this project, I guess 5 years ago, actually, this October, so it's 5 years ago. A lot of people stepped up, and I'm just going to list off the classroom sponsors, the ones that donated to refurbish the rooms. We sold the sponsorship as part of the funding mechanism, in addition to the grants needed to get the rooms renovated. The Bethel Fife and Drum chapter of the DAR, the Bethel Park Community Foundation, which will be hearing some good news here in a few minutes, the Bethel Women's Club, Kim Burke, Mark Edelman, Debbie Gala, Georgiana and William Knaus, John Marr, Betty Millar, the Murdoch family, the Rotary Club of Upper St. Clair Bethel Park Breakfast, Brian Shanahan and Renee and Russ Yakuza. So it's very helpful that they're the people that really stepped up to help us to get a lot of these rooms renovated. It's a testament. We have on the video screen in the back, if you take a few minutes. We work here a lot and we don't really notice the change, but this video kind of highlights the before and after. We were here yesterday cleaning, I think Skip brought up on his phone some pictures of what this room looked like 5 years ago and what it looks like today. And it's just truly amazing renovation there. At this time, I'd like to call up Brittany Hollick of the Bethel Park Community Foundation. And I guess I'll preface it by saying this project, our new project we're working on, is the flagpole that is currently at the St. Valentine's Church on the Mestre Street side. It was actually dedicated in 1961 by the VFW. We started a project several months ago in the midst of the pandemic to raise the money to move it. It's probably more cost effective to buy a new one versus move the old one, but we're here to preserve the history. So we reached out to the community. Many community members actually supported it. So Brittany is part of the foundation. We thank you.
And the check cleared.
The funds were good.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. If all goes well, the new flagpole will be placed on the Park Avenue side of the building, hopefully by the end of November. We signed the contract last week, so that is moving forward, and we're hoping to have it completed, like I said, by the end of the month. I'd also like to acknowledge a couple of people. Our Mayor Jack Allen is here today. Thank you for coming. And our State Senator, Devlin Robinson. One of the projects we worked on, and we do have many, is the beautification of the area. The unique thing about our group is everybody comes up with good ideas. What can we do to execute it? So the Jenkins come up and we talked about doing a beautification project. So we actually sold trees as a fundraiser on the property of the Historical Society, which is the Corrigies. We also coordinated with the municipality of Bethel Park to extend the trees up the parking lot. And we did that to really return it to where it was when this building was originally built. if you go back and look at the early pictures, it was a tree-lined street. So we're hoping, as part of it, not only raising some funds, but we're also beautifying the area and returning to where it was back in 1905. And at this time, I would like to ask the people, here's kind of the way this is going to work, is the people that are sponsors of the tree would ask you to maybe send 1 or 2 people up, we'll take a picture, and when it's over, we're going to escort the people that, the families, if you like, that purchased the tree. We can go down the front steps and we'll take you out and put the plaque where the tree is. Okay, this is, the first one is Janet Ferdinand. I don't know if Janet is here. Yep. Janet does the studio in the basement of the building, Improvement Through Movement. You have a few minutes today, she's all set up to take a look at it. It's dedicated to the students of Improvement Through Movement.
And I have to say, Janet was like really instrumental in the beginning because she realized that this was such a great building. And she had her studio on this floor up here. There was no heat, no air conditioning, and then they were dancing. So they literally had students in Parkas in the middle of the winter dancing. So Janet, thank you very much.
The second one is Suzanne Davies Sutton.
She's out of town.
In memory of Bruce Davies, class of 1966, donated by Suzanne Davies Sutton, class of 1965, and Byron Davies, class of 1966. The next one are the Means family. Would you like to come up? And it states, in memory of Peter S. Edwards Jr., military service, Army Air Force, World War II, 49 missions in a P-51 Mustang, sponsored by Sue Ann Edwards Means. Ray Walton. Kathy and Ray Walton married July 18, 1970. The Bethel Park Community Foundation. The tree was funded by the Bethel Park Community Foundation, a nonprofit corporation managed by a volunteer board of trustees, effectively enhancing the educational, government, civic, and cultural resources of the community of Bethel Park. The Faith and Freedom Foundation. Okay, in honor of
the King family to promote historic preservation, education, and patriotism. Actually, Martin is here for her parents.
My 2 grandmothers.
2 grandmothers, sorry.
Okay, it's the Morton family, Mayor Clifford and Joan Morton, Mayor 1997 to 2012, grandsons Mitchell and Sean Morton. It's in memory of Nick and Norma Sorovic, donated by Joyce and Ray Hall. Bakers Women's Club.
I'm not sure if they're here, but this was for the Ruth Ravers Women's Club. Thank you.
The DAR.
In memory and honor of all Bethel Park veterans and schoolhouse students, donated by the Bethel Fife and John Chapter NSDAR.
The Black Hawk Family Relief Fund and the John Oaks family.
This is in loving memory of John Oaks Jr., John and Amanda's first son.
Thank you guys very much. John Walsh.
He's probably making donuts, but this is for Bethel Bakery.
Mr. Kraft. It's in loving memory of my wife, Patricia Trish Kraft, 1935 to 2020, from your loving husband, Richard. The Tiano family. This was easy, even I can read this. The Tiano family. The Janissacs. We actually have 4 generations here with us, Bethel Park residents. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate all the work. We appreciate Jim and Lisa Jenkins for putting it together and getting the trees planted. Like I mentioned at the end of the program, we will take a while to actually place the plaque at each tree. Part of what we did when we came up with the building was how do we use the building and how do we generate revenue to it. So it's Improvement through Movement is one of our, I don't want to call them tenants, but one of our partners that runs their studio out of the basement. We actually have Reginald's, Matt and Julie. First off, it's a great coffee shop. Number 2 is they are a big part. They're members. They're donating all the time. They're always willing to help us. And actually, in the front room downstairs, they actually purchased blinds for us, which we're going to replicate in the rest of the building. So they're great people and really, once again, very good partners in the building. We have John Del Monte, who his studio's the upper section of the building. John's just a great guy. I'm not sure if he paints anymore, but he does teaches and he consults. And he told me yesterday, so I don't think he would mind me saying this, but he's 96 years old. And he still comes and works, and this is kind of his home away from home. And we also have South Arts. It's an arts group that meets a couple times a week on the first floor. They run some classes, and it's just really great. Really what we're doing now today is really celebrating what we've done. The work for us really truly begins in earnest to what we do with the building once it's complete. So our next phase, when we're still completing the building, is what are we going to do with it? How do we, this auditorium, which will be or vision of what we wanted to do for the building was we wanted to fully renovate it. Mark Edelman, he came in as an architect, he's been a great supporter and evaluated. He called me up and he tells us story all the time. He said, I have good news and I have bad news. I said, give me the bad news. He said, the building's solid. I said, well, give me the good news then. He said, it's got good bones. So we embarked on a plan, as I mentioned earlier, in October of 2016, and we set a goal of $1 million. People looked at us, we looked at each other saying, what do you think the chances are? Can we do it? You know, what? We didn't really have a plan. We had a direction and worked on a plan. But I'm happy to tell everybody today, the good news is with this $10,000 donation, between donations, fundraising, and in-kind services, our total dollar amount is $1,008,000. And I guess the bad news is the goal is now $2 million. No, it's truly been just a wonderful time. I think it's become an asset to the community. And it's not just the building, it's the people. Just like everybody that's here today, you all want to be part of this. And the people who have met, the stories we have, and most of the stories they tell are true. But it's just really making memories for generations to come. And our goal as a historical society, as we say, is to protect the past and plan for the future. So that being said, I would like to, at this time, I think I covered everything. And we also have a new program that Bill will go over for Wreaths Across America.
So, and credit has to go to Lisa Jenkins for this idea. We now are partnering with Wreaths Across America. And if anybody's not familiar with the organization, it's a really wonderful effort to place wreaths on veterans' graves at Christmas time. So on December 18th, we will be placing wreaths, and we hooked up with Bethel Cemetery over by Bethel Presbyterian Church, which is really amazing because most organizations want to hook up with national cemeteries. But Wreaths Across America are so thrilled to have a local cemetery, and of course the cemetery itself is thrilled. And I think, Lisa, there are 545 veterans in that cemetery, of which there are 14 Revolutionary War soldiers. So we're going to be having a ceremony on the 18th, and I think the DAR has offered to do presentation and wreaths for us at a ceremony. And Marty, could I announce the other? Okay. Well, Matt and Julie don't know, so don't say anything yet. But Marty Gooding has graciously offered to pay for a veterans coffee on Veterans Day, which is November 11th, to help get people incentivized to purchase a wreath. I think wreaths are $15, of which the Historical Society will get $5 proceeds. And then on the 18th, we'll have a formal ceremony, and we'll lay the wreath. So if anybody's interested, you can go to wreathsacrossamerica.org, and you can sign up to purchase a wreath. If you don't have a veteran in the cemetery, please buy one for a veteran who no longer has a family. It'd be a wonderful thing. So we appreciate Lisa. That was a great idea. And Lisa got a ton of information, these little pins and brochures, so please feel free to pick them up. In addition, because we can't have you leave without giving some extra cash, John O'Frasek, a local Pittsburgh artist, he has a 32-foot painting on display across the hall of the Carnegie Steel factory based on a 1926 photograph. And there are prints that are available for sale. He also donated 2 rather large prints of his famous Pittsburgh scenes, valued each $100. And those were selling raffle tickets, 10 tickets for $10. We also have the Bethel Park book for sale. We have membership, $20 for annual membership for a single, $40 for a family. And with that, you get free access to any of the Heinz History Center, the Smithsonian museums. And, just as an aside, the Heinz History Center is so thrilled with working with us. I mean, we continue to strengthen our partnership. We worked with 4 different groups from California University to produce videos every year for classroom assignments. And we're also now going to be working with Point St. Park University this fall with 2 of its students. So it's just another way in which we get our name out in the market. And lastly, Maria De Simone Presac, who is Jono's wife, she did a beautiful watercolor of the building, which the retail value of that is $2,000. We're hoping to raise monies, and if anybody would like to buy that, and in turn donate back to our permanent collection, we would welcome that. We get half the sales and proceeds of that. If you can't afford the large watercolor, there are prints that Maria has made, and they're beautifully matted in either a white or a black mat. Those are $25 each, of which half the proceeds go back into the Historical Society. So there are always ways in which you can help to continue all the efforts that we've done. And I think, personally, it's with pride. We set out with a dream, a vision, and we've been able to accomplish that many times over. So thank you very much. I'll turn it back to Cindy.
Donations to business community, the local business community has really stepped up to help us. But I just would like to acknowledge these people that have been part of the process. And just remember, 100% of the donations go to the renovations of the building. We don't have to pay staff. We do use some contractors to do the electrical work and plastering, but most everything here is done by the volunteers. And if you're looking for something this afternoon, there's some paintbrushes and paint cans. I'm sure we can. But it's all Old Pope Plumbing, DRG Plastering, EBM Architecture, and of course Andy Emily from EB True Value Hardware, Fidelis Painting, Jacobson Electric, Jim Jenkins, London Garden, Eastern Pool Supply Company, Metropolitan Windows, the Sweeney Construction, Premier Drywall Service, and the T.O. Bain Church. So at this time, I would like to ask Brittany and all the members of the Bethel Park Community Foundation. They are the sponsors of this room. It's the Community Foundation Auditorium. So we're going to do the ceremonial cutting of the ribbon. So if all the foundation members can come up.
Ready? Wait, speak. There you go. Ready? Everybody look.
Hello, I ran into a couple of my good friends here in Bethel Park, and at the open house I heard something very interesting by this next guest, and then her husband's here, another good friend. So please tell me your name.
Lisa Jenkins.
And your name, sir?
Jim Jenkins.
Thank you. Your name sounds familiar in the neighborhood. And Lisa, what did you talk about that piqued my interest?
Well, I am so excited to be able to announce to Bethel Park. I'm sure everybody's familiar with Wreaths Across America.
I just heard about them.
It's an organization that they lay wreaths at all the veterans' graves
That is awesome.
in various cemeteries. And they have ceremonies on December 18th at 12 noon
That's a special day?
at cemeteries across the United States, actually across the world, because they
The world,
in
too.
France, yes. They acknowledged D-Day and so forth. So at December 18th at 12 noon, we'll be having a ceremony
Where at?
at the Bethel Presbyterian Cemetery, the Bethel Cemetery.
Not the one that was founded in 1776 across from my house that I walked there?
Yes, and we're so
Tell me more.
excited. Because normally, Wreaths Across America, the only opportunity that people had was to go to the National Cemetery. And we felt that we wanted to bring it locally here to Bethel Park so that it would be easier for more people to be involved. And, parking's better, getting around the cemetery is easier.
Oh, it is fantastic. I walk it, so I understand.
There you go. We have about 550 veterans' graves at Bethel Cemetery.
Tell them about the special ones.
We have one Civil War soldier. We have 14 Revolutionary War soldiers.
I've seen them.
Yes, and we've acknowledged them at a Memorial Day ceremony. So this will be very similar to the Memorial Day Cemetery, but it'll be held on December 18th here in Bethel Park at 12 noon. We'll be making some other announcements. We're actually going to be allowing people to sponsor wreaths through the Bethel Park Historical Society, because the Bethel Park Historical Society has such a wonderful military museum.
Hence where we're at.
Yes, and is so involved with the military and veterans, and there's so many people in Bethel Park that, our fathers were veterans.
Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
And my son was too in the Navy.
There you go. So
And cousins and uncles.
everybody has somebody around here.
Just not me.
Well, we just wanted to make sure that people of Bethel Park were able to acknowledge our veterans and our grave sites. So we're excited that we were able to partner with Wreaths Across America, Bethel Park Historical Society.
And how do we get a hold of Bethel? How do we get a hold of Bethel Park Historical Society? Just go to their website or come in or?
Bethel Park Historical Society. We're going to be distributing flyers, sponsorship flyers that people can fill out and has the correct numbers on it and so forth. You can sponsor a wreath for $15. $10 of that does go to the purchase of the wreath, and $5 of that will go to a fundraiser for the Bethel Park Historical Society.
What a great idea.
All the ongoing work here.
Yes.
And we have great business plans and corporate plans where people can buy 10, multiples and get a little discount. And I'll have flyers up in all the stores. We'll have them here at the Historical
I
Society.
didn't have to ask that. Thank you.
Oh, and we will also have a website that you can.
I'm honored to be the first to show this.
Okay, here you go. You want to hold one up, Alan?
I'll hold it.
Okay.
Look at that.
And
Get Jim to hold
See,
one.
I-
He's been doing nothing so far.
do need my
Whoa.
glasses.
That's
see
okay.
that? If you go to www.wreathsacrossamerica.org /
Read very well.
PA0627P. It will go right to a website that is the Bethel Park Historical Society's website on the Wreaths Across America site. And that way, when you purchase your wreath online, the Bethel Park Historical Society will get credit for that wreath. We will have these, like I said, at the Historical Society. We're open Tuesday and Thursday evenings and all day Saturdays. We will have this at the Municipal Building everywhere. I just was very honored today to learn that Natalie Mihalik and Devlin Robinson will both agree to speak on December 18th. Mayor Jack Allen has agreed to speak, and he will also have numerous participants from the American Legion and the VFW.
That is
He's
great.
getting very involved. And also, what's the
Hold
what's
it.
his last name?
Wait, before you go too far, how about the guy next to you? How's he involved?
Oh, I saved the best for last.
Okay. I'll let you figure out
I
that guy.
have the municipal manager, Lawrence, has also agreed to speak, him being very active in the veterans situation.
You did well.
And so we're going to have wonderful speakers. We're working on it. It'll be a fun memorial event on December 18th.
Yes.
We will have then a little ceremony, like a reception at the Historical Society School building.
Like where we're at now.
Yes, right after.
And look at this great room here, their military room.
Yes, we have to take a look around. Really.
She took some B-roll, so.
Oh, good.
We're
Okay.
in a great area with guns.
Oh, yes. Well, that's very important because that's what got us our freedom. So, and Mr.
Yeah, how do we beat the greatest army in the world?
there at our ceremony, hopefully taking some tidbits and interviewing some of our veterans that will be there.
I'll have to talk to Dave Cable about that.
Yes.
And I better dress warm,
Yeah. Yes, we're hoping it'll be a beautiful day.
like today.
We will, the first 2 weeks of December, the wreaths will be delivered. We will be asking for volunteers to help us place the wreaths at all the veterans' graves. That date will be determined later on once we figure
Get
out
further on,
transportation.
Yes.
But we're very excited for all Bethel Park to remember Wreaths Across America, December 18th at noon at the Bethel Cemetery.
Only $15.
$15 gets you a beautiful live green wreath
live
with a red bow. And so we're hoping to fill the cemetery with wreaths, and hopefully it'll snow after the event and it will look
Wonderful.
amazing. It'll look amazing. So there's little pamphlets that'll be around all the stores,
Yeah, help Jim a little.
up
Thank
at the municipal building. And if you go to the website, wreathsacrossamerica.org, there's a lot more information about where your money actually goes to, aside from helping the Historical Society. So thank you all. I hope to see you all December 18th. This is the first time Bethel Park is hosting such an event. We're very excited about it. So please contact me at the Historical Society or Jim at his business,
What business is that?
Jim Jenkins Lawn and Garden Center.
I have to ask obvious questions.
You can contact anyone at the Historical Society or anyone in municipal management here because everyone is getting involved. So
All right, I'm at the Bethel Park Historical Society's Arts and History Center Schoolhouse from 1905. Did their great event, and I run into a great artist who's a KO grad like me. I'm going to have him tell you his name.
John O'Prasic, and what an introduction. I don't know how I get past that.
Well, you're the best. He's one of my favorite artists, along with his wife, who we're going to talk to in another minute or two. Because if I'm not talking and promoting, you guys know me, and I'm promoting this great man. And what do we have here that is impressive? It's huge, 34 feet.
32 feet.
Okay.
It's okay. It's 8 canvases. Each canvas is 3 by 4.
What is that right there?
And there's 8 canvases, a total of 32 feet, 3 feet high. This is the actual Carnegie Steel logo that was on the building in 26. Even though U.S. Steel bought it in 01, the U.S. Steel logo did not appear till the 50s.
Wow, great history. I love history.
If you're on the hill of Munhall looking down, Sandcastle would be on your left today, all the way down to this railroad bridge, which is by the Rankin Bridge, which was not built yet. So that's your view of the old Homestead Works.
And I remember that. I'm old enough that we drove past there. And it smelled so bad.
Sights, the sounds. How could you forget if you're...
And how about the fires you'd see?
Oh, all that fires. So the inspiration for this painting is a couple things. I was talking to local historians. No artist has painted the whole steel mill. They painted parts.
Right.
So I thought that was my hook about 10 years ago. Then also, I'm Czechoslovakian descent. My grandfather, the original John O'Prasic, came from Czechoslovakia and worked in this mill until 1950.
Unbelievable.
He collapsed in the mill and then died a week later at his home in Munhall. I was born 9 years later. I've never met him, but that's part of my family history. So that was the back of my mind.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm a history guy. I read it every day.
Stories, we all come from somewhere.
I got some too.
So I moved to my art career. I've been painting steel mills. I said, find out no artist has painted the whole mill. I picked this mill because of the history. Andrew Carnegie, U.S. Steel, the Pinkerton riots, a lot of history.
1892. Me being a union guy,
Yes, sir.
understand that it's a historic event in history.
So I just decided to do the whole bill, and I wasn't going to do a 30-foot canvas. Why would I and why could I? So I did it in parts. And there's sand. I always use Monongahela sand in my paintings.
I understand. I tell everybody.
This has Monongahela sand, but has mill site sand. The actual sand from the mills are in this.
Who got it for you?
I got it myself. I knew where to go.
I knew I had to check.
The sand guy told me go over there, and the enamel paints. And so that actually adds an organic telling to the story.
And I'm excited about this. And then Andy Amrine showed me something that you created over there. How did that come about?
The metal print. I reproduced my work on metal. That's a panoramic view with the technology. That's an 8-foot long metal print, 9 inches high, and that we sell them at my
That
studio.
incorporates the 32 feet.
There you go.
See, I understand now.
Okay, then I sell small, medium, and large prints of the metal. So people collect all of them, or they just buy one of them. So that's in my business. That helps my business.
Exactly. I understand this. You do so many nice things, donating art for auctions, but I know you have to make money to turn the lights on at your Southside business.
Usually, and eat too sometimes. Okay.
I see some of the things you eat, yes.
Okay, I love to eat. Life is to be lived.
Me too.
And my wife and I, as a local artist, Maria's Ideas, we love to help people out with a piece of art. If we know a piece of art can help somebody out, that's what we like to do, and we've always done that.
On that happy note, thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Alan.
So please introduce yourself.
Hi, Maria DeSimone Prasic.
And it's so great to see and talk to you. I love your owl pictures. I love the sloth at the library. I was there that honorable day when you created it.
Okay.
It's just fantastic. And you're one of my favorite artists with what you do daily. When did you get started?
When I was probably 4 years old.
I appreciate honesty.
Yeah, no, I was always very passionate about art and creativity and was encouraged by my family. And my best childhood memories are getting a new box of crayons with the sharpener in the back, that was the best, the 64 count, and paper. That's all I needed to be happy. And so I was just always drawing and coloring and creating and encouraged by my family. And when I was 19, I decided to open my own business, and so...
That is great, an entrepreneur from 19.
Maria's Ideas, same phone number since, 19.
We won't age ourselves, we're good.
22, yeah.
And what are you doing here today on this great open house at the Bethel Park Historical Society? I want to know, I'm excited with what you have here.
Yeah, well, aside from helping to promote this wonderful place and what they've done here, I love it.
1905 schoolhouse.
Yes, it's beautiful. I created an original watercolor of the schoolhouse.
I saw it.
Yes.
It
and
looks so great.
Thank you. So if they sell it, they get to...
How do they get a hold of you to buy?
Well, I think they would buy it from the school, from the historical. Bethel Park Historical Society is selling this piece, and the proceeds go to the Historical Society to help fundraise,
And you're such a nice person like your husband. You donate art for auctions. You give a part of your profit to them. And I just hope you have enough to feed the squirrels in your neighborhood and other animals.
I'd spend my last dime on art supplies and peanuts and birdseed for the critters.
That is great. I like questions. What is this house?
So I work with, I do a lot of murals in people's homes and all, but in the last couple of years with COVID, there was, limited.
Limited.
Very limited. So I've always done custom work, murals, greeting cards, portraits, all different types of work, different types of mediums, and different subject matter. And I could not go into homes, but I thought, well, I'll just
Driving by.
paint the homes, So people were calling and asking for different things over the years, and I'd have to say, no, I can't. I'm doing the murals full time. I can't do everything. But then full circle, kind of back to doing what I was before. And a lot of them I do for realtors when they have a client
I didn't know.
and they
That's
sell.
great. What a niche that is.
Yeah. So this is actually the originals. I obviously give to the client, the customer, but then I did a few prints just to show as an example. So the one realtor had this done for her client after they sold the home. Sometimes it's the person coming in, sometimes going
Sure.
out.
They're all possible
Yeah,
customers.
so, and like this one was done for the customer. She gave me the photograph of their home in the springtime, but asked me if I can make it look like winter because she loved their home in the wintertime.
You have great skills, and I love owls, so tell me about the owl.
That's just a little screech owl inspired by the National Aviary owl that I've met there. I teach art classes there as well,
I know.
and on site. So I love all types of animals and wildlife, and I try to just encourage others to respect
This caught my eye too. Look at bees. We need more bees.
Yes, we need bees. Without the bees, we don't have food. They need to pollinate our food. So that's, again, I try to maybe bring a little awareness to some different causes or animals and wildlife and such.
Thank you for letting me go a little off tangent
Yeah,
on all
no,
this.
that's fine.
But we're here for a great day at the Bethel Park Historical Society. Get a hold of Maria and Jonna. But we're talking about a 1905 Bethel Park High School building.
The first high school in Bethel Park.
Yes.
And then in 1917, they added on the addition. So this is our 5th anniversary for our open house.
Congrats.
Thank you. And as you heard upstairs in the formal presentations last week with the foundation, and you and I are trustees, there was a $10,000 donation, which put us over $1 million.
That is amazing.
Isn't that
I remember
incredible?
I met you and you said $1 million.
Yep.
And I'm friends with you. I thought you were crazy.
Yeah.
Until I saw how you operate.
And it's just, when you look at this building now and just see, you know, how beautiful it is, what an asset it has become for the community. It's a local attraction. You know, we're really quite proud of everything that we've been able to achieve. And really, it's been the residents and the local businesses that have really supported us, not only financially, but just donating items for our classroom museum, our military museum, our coal miners museum, you know, our library filled with yearbooks dating back to 1932
Yes.
and other school memorabilia. So, I mean, what a better building. What
And
a great
look at
day.
the turnout that you had.
Yeah,
I was
it's amazing.
impressed. You worked the crowd here pretty good.
You know, you try, because you never know when your next donation is going to come along. And it's not all just about the money. It's just the fact that we now have this gem that people can come in and rent it out for local, for a venue. We've done about 200 birthday parties, bridal parties, baby showers, classroom. Reunions. I had my 40th high school reunion here.
You're not that old.
Yeah,
Come
older
on.
than that, because that was a couple of years ago.
I stand corrected.
Still,
No, this is just great, and it's become a go-to point with
has.
Reginald's Coffee.
yeah, Matt and
what
Julie
they
have
do.
been phenomenal, and Matt just installed these blinds that they donated to us, which are incredible, because you know this building gets a lot of sun.
Yes.
And
when we have it here.
Right, in Pittsburgh. It is Pittsburgh. So, you know, we still have many improvements to make, but we've certainly come a long way. And
Well, I heard the improvements will never end.
No,
So
the
this
12th of
is
never.
Yes.
Somebody asked when we'll be finished.
That's a good date.
And we said the 12th of never. You know, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have gutters and downspouts put on the building. We still have to do the Governor's Drive.
Tell them about all 50 windows, or what
No,
you-
107.
107.
107,
I stand corrected.
yeah.
I just met the owner of Metropolitan Windows, who I'm friends with, John.
John and Maggie Schmolzer,
Yes.
they were so fantastic in really helping us to turn the corner with this building. Because no matter what we did on the inside, until we, you know, those windows were put in and people who drove by saw that they are doing something to this
Right.
building and not tearing it down, they said, oh, well, maybe I should send a check.
And here's what's interesting. Look at windows that we buy for our homes. Look at the size of these windows that they put in here.
7.5
like the original.
feet, 12 feet in the
I
mezzanine.
knew you'd know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm picking that brain of yours.
And John and Maggie, they're doing our last 2 windows, which were the 2 eyebrow windows, one on Park Avenue and one on South Park.
Great.
And so, you know, as I said, we still have ways in which people can help with Wreaths Across America. Memberships are $20 a
And
year.
how do they get a hold of you?
Our website.
Tell them it, because
well,
I'm old, just repeat it.
Okay, so our Facebook page, Bethel Park Historical Society,
Okay.
or our email address, historicalsocietybp@gmail.com.
Please repeat it, because I'm a little hard of hearing now.
historicalsocietybp@gmail.com.
Excellent. Contact him now.
Or you can come on Tuesdays and Thursday evenings from 5:30 to 8 o'clock. Those are still our work nights, 5
Hold
years
it.
later.
Watch out, because when you come here, I'm supposed to mop the floors here when I'm done.
Al showed up a day early yesterday, so I handed
I'm
him
a go-getter.
and he said, oh, look at the time, I have to go. But you
They
what?
know me, yes.
Al, you and I have had a busy couple of weeks. We were out at the Foundation's Fantastic Four golf outing, and then last week we were at Community Day, so thanks for coming for open house.
So we're in the classroom here, and
Oh, his name's Andy Amrine.
thank you. I'm sorry. Hi, I'm Andy Amrine. Some people refer to me as Handy Andy.
Yes.
But you know, with the Historical Society, I love helping the whole group redo this schoolhouse, this building, and so forth. And
we're both trustees
for
on the board.
Yes, and the
Bethel Park Community Foundation.
The stuff in the classroom, though, Al, is I try and help them locate stuff when I'm doing a lot of our commercial sales and through the city of Pittsburgh, but a lot of the old schools that I'm in. So we've been able to acquire some of the desks and fans and globes and maps and these very comfortable desks. And
They are.
I mean, I grew up going to St. Joan of Arc school, and there were some pretty small desks back then.
Well, I remember I grew up in Greentree.
Well, I remember taking my teacher apples to try and get better test grades. It didn't help.
Really?
Yeah, it didn't help.
At least you're honest. I appreciate that. Can you tell us where some of these great desks would have come from?
We actually got a lot of them from Sacred Heart. Sacred
okay.
Heart down in Oakland, outside of Oakland.
Sure.
They were renovating, and they decided that they finally needed to upgrade. And
When were some of these even made on that point? Do you know? Do you have an idea?
Some of the original ones were in the late 1800s, 1890s. Not that Sacred Heart was built then, but as a lot of the schools were built, they came from other buildings.
Sure.
And
People shared.
They shared, and they had a big storage room up on the top floor, and they were trying to expand the school and needed a place to put these. So I had the perfect place. So I know not all of them, but a lot of the stuff, the maps and globes and so forth.
The desk right there at Manila Avenue High School in Greentree, it's now the municipal building.
Okay.
That's one of the
That was
desks I
yours?
sat in.
That
Yeah,
was
that
yours?
might have been mine. Open it up.
Yeah,
See if there's some gum under there.
Yeah, there's a test grade in there. Should I look?
Yeah, they were A's.
Somehow I knew that, but yeah, what an asset to Bethel Park this whole building is. What the Historical Society is doing, and now that they've actually topped their first $1 million.
Look what they've done in 5 years.
Donations. It was when they took over, I really didn't know if there was much life left in this building or what was going to happen, and now it's a huge asset to the community, and we are lucky to be residents.
I've only been here since '83 in Bethel Park, and when you'd see this school, it was in disrepair. And to see it like it is now, I had to come to my favorite coffee shop, Reginald's Coffee, that has my great loose leaf green tea Dragonwell. Haven't been here in a while because I'm limited to only 3 cups. I became friends with Matt and Julie, and here's Matt by his roaster. He can tell us about his shop. How are you, Matt?
Great, Al. Good to see you, man.
Nice to see you. I've missed you.
Yeah, it's been a long time. We were talking about that. I miss you very much so. Al used to come in and hang out right over there, get a pot of tea all the time.
Yes.
So
I'm going to come in for a large cup. Maybe next week. I'm breaking it, coming in.
Sounds good. Yeah. So we just been cranking away. We've been busy. It's almost 3 years now that we've been open, which is crazy.
I remember when you first opened.
Right. And then, so here's our roaster back here. That's all our coffee gets roasted on that machine, and then we make our lattes over there at the coffee bar.
And what do you have over here? Maybe she can get a little shot of from around the world roasted coffee, right?
Sure, absolutely. Yes.
I remember your pitch.
Yeah, all green coffee here, and then we put it in here, and it comes out brown and delicious, and then we got a whole bunch back here now. I think the last time you were here, we just had a smaller wall.
Yeah, you did.
All this.
You had the bags stacked up on the floor, so I appreciate the improvements.
Yeah, for sure. It helps us with a little bit more.
Makes it easier, makes the space more accessible.
Absolutely.
In my eye.
Yep, absolutely. So it's been good. Super busy. Just people really catching on now. It's really like our first year that's been like just totally nuts all year long.
Well, you even have seating outside, I noticed.
Yeah, outdoor seating, a couple tables indoors.
Because you're limited in how these things are, and just with the different problems with COVID.
Yeah.
We've all survived. We're alive.
We're here. We made it. We made it to the other side. Hopefully it's the other side. We'll see. But it's been a crazy ride. Hopefully we get to get back to sort of like taking our business in the direction that we want to take it in, rather than just sort of reactively.
And if you haven't ever been here, please come out. I know a lot of your fans are on BPTV, but others that watch us, 2600 South Park Road. It has a trolley with skeletons on it, and it's decorated for Halloween, so it's great. But just stop in. They're great people. I've heard nothing but good about them and their products here.
Yeah, thanks very much, Al. We really appreciate it, man.